close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. See the horizon turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And shadows till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. See the horizon, turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And
What is up, guys? Welcome back to Off the Track for another episode. My name is Davey, also known as GTR Kicker in the community. I'm joined by Jason, as always, known as DRR Roadkill. How are you doing, man?
Or DRR Road Kicker, as we've just found out.
yeah. DRR Road Kicker. That's quite the gamer tag. Cool.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think I might change it.
I think you're copying me if you do that.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. That's kind of rude, man.
Oh, okay.
Guys, we have a very relaxed show today. We got Mellish coming on here in a few minutes. We just got a couple community things.
Slow week in the Forza community.
Yeah. A couple Wednesday showdowns that happened. People settling in with the update. So we're gonna get you guys caught up here on some of the community events. So Tora raced last week for their British GT. They had round 5, I believe it was. So, as you can see, guys, still FTR dominance up top, nothing changing up there. FTR Vane with another sweep of 300 in round 5.
Yeah, he's had a really strong performance.
Goodness gracious, that's crazy.
Maxing out those points.
Dude, that's insane. I don't know how he's doing that.
Yeah, that Porsche. It's got to be the Porsche a little bit. Like, Hamish is quick, and so is Solar. And, yeah, there's some pretty quick guys in there. And yeah, I can only imagine that the Porsche is a bit of the stronger car in this class.
Yeah. So, we'll be following that up, guys. I think they have a couple rounds left. So, looking like a Vane win, to be honest. So, he's got a...
No, it's definitely going to be Zai. What are you talking about?
Zai.
He's going to come from 10 places back and just take it out the next 3 rounds. You watch. I'm calling it.
Oh, okay. All right. I believe you.
Sorry, Zai. I wish that was true.
Also, GT4 standings this week. A little bit of a change up top. Where is Haiti T, Jason?
I really don't think he was on there this week.
Really? Did he not race or something? Yeah, I know he was up.
I don't know. Maybe he missed a week. Because if I left out. Well, obviously, if you drop 2 weeks in a row, you're going to be at the bottom. Doesn't really matter.
Right. Yeah.
So he might have missed a week there, or 2.
Correct. Yeah. So Mead up there taking the lead. Just behind him is Hurricane. So. Actually, it looks like Sloth is in the lead, if I'm not mistaken, with 1169, and Caesar's Wrath in second with 1167.
Oh my goodness, that is that's what happens when you try and do this at 5 in the morning. It's just
It's all good. It's all good. So, guys, Slothatron is leading. Caesar's Wrath is in second. Then it is Mead in third. Hurricane and Warwick tied for 4th. Then a bit of a gap back to 5th with Liam T. So, to 6th with Liam T. So, looking pretty strong. I mean, those guys should be duking it out for the championship. Looks pretty good. So,
that'll be a good race.
Yeah. So, guys, they should be streaming that. YMTV, I believe, is covering that series. I think Flip Mode does it. So, check that out. It's once a month, every Sunday. We also had Clio Cup this week at Silverstone. We don't actually have those standings up for you guys this week, but we will have them up next week. Alright, so, that's pretty much it for community events. Not too much starting up. That looked professional. That looked absolutely professional.
Yeah, that's the first time that's happened.
Oh, goodness gracious. Cool.
That was good.
Well, guys, we got a special guest on this week. We're going to talk all things Forza, Le Mans, RC, stuff like that. We have TUS Mellish on the show this week. welcome to the show, man. It's great to have you on.
Thank you very much for having me, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. And I didn't realise it was 5 o'clock in the morning, so thank you for getting up so early, because I would not have done the same.
No, I've been awake all night. That's the different thing.
Oh. Oh, no, I don't feel so bad.
Please feel bad. It feels right.
Mellish is the culprit of the DRR road kicker. Actually, he's the one that said that about 5 minutes before we started. So, kudos to him on
the two. It sounded alright. Actually, I think it sounds good.
Road kicker, yeah.
I like it.
I'd love to know what it is actually.
I have no idea. There's no definition for it.
Maybe like a road worker.
A road worker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like a construction worker.
Oh, all right. Cool.
Doesn't really know what they're doing.
Kicking red.
Like, you know, like a mechanic, like a tyre kicker. Like, he just kicks the tyres and he doesn't really know what they're doing. Road kicker's like someone just stands around pretending to be a builder. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good work.
Awesome. Well, one of the topics we got this week, guys, there's a cool debate, an interesting debate actually, going on Twitter about live adjudication versus the next day adjudication. So if you guys aren't familiar, what happened this week was the Xbox sign-in servers went down. So there was like a 30-minute wait period before the stream actually got started for the Wednesday showdown in North America. Billy Sue actually couldn't even make the race because of it. So the race got started late, and because of that, they couldn't even get the live adjudication into the stream. So they had to just run the races quickly, and then they did the adjudication the next day. Ended up coming out with a couple penalties, one against Vanquish, one against someone else. So, you know, there was a debate a little bit going on Twitter about, and also a poll that came out about whether they should do it like they did the other night, where there isn't anyone, you know, where they're just racing, or if it's better live when we have a little bit longer periods. So, Jason, let's start with you because I know, you know, it's quite interesting. You know, I think live adjudication provides a different aspect to whether or not you know, where people start. So, what's your stance on that?
I mean, it was a pretty good cover. I mean, like, I don't know if they always plan to do that, but the next day adjudication is pretty good. It helps the whole thing run a bit more smoothly. Live adjudication, there does seem to be quite a wait time where they try and fill it with a bit of fluff, I'd say, and you kind of lose interest. And if you're watching the stream back a day later, you just skip and throw it anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like the show would run a bit smoother if it was done the next day and then just release results then. But then again, you get like the change of starting position, so I don't know if that's going to be important for the drivers or not.
Right, exactly. What do you think, Mellish?
I mean, yeah, I think he's caught on a good point. I mean, time effectiveness, time implications for doing live adjudication will always be the fact that if there's adjudication between races, then it's going to take some more time. And obviously, you know, if you do like studies into people's attention spans, it doesn't last that long. You know, you've got to keep it going. You've got to keep it rolling. People want to see the action. They don't want people to, you know, they know when someone's filling. They know when, they can sense it and they tune out, and that's what, you know, disinterests them. But I would say that yes, at the moment, adjudication does affect the next the starting grid on the next race. So if that wasn't the case, then I think the case could be fought for the fact that you could have after the post-race adjudication or post-stream adjudication like that. But then you've got to go for all the replays. You know what I mean? So there's a cost factor as well, because these marshals aren't free. They've got a job to do, and it's kind of like if you're going to sit there and watch 12 replays, then it's a lot longer than having to just clip segments where there have been incidents and then log them and go through them. You'd have to go through every 12 people's perspective just to get an incident, and I think it could work. I think post race could work. I see an argument for both. I would like to see post race for the sake of the stream, but then there's that waiting game because you don't actually know where you finish. It's like all the drivers are playing a guessing game because they don't know where they finish until 2 days afterwards when the adjudication results come in. You're like, so did I get it or did I not? You know what I mean? And I guess but that's just that's like a small price to pay really for the efficiency of the stream.
Yeah, I saw a tweet I saw a tweet by AMS Electric, actually. I believe it was him. He said it's about the viewers. It's not about like the racers or anything like that. It's about the viewers because they're the ones watching it. They're the ones taking interest in it. So it's whatever is best interested in them. It's kind of like customer service. It's like the customer is always right. Well, the viewer is always right. So he went on a good point. Like, okay, whatever the viewers feel is going to, you know, increase viewership. It's going to keep them interested. That's what's going to be the best thing for the stream. And if that is taking out the time of the race, like between the races and getting more racing going, then that's what you need to do, whether the drivers like it or not. You know, Scott Cole put out a tweet for a poll, and it was 63% towards more racing as opposed to 37% for live adjudication.
No, I mean, I'm actually quite surprised that it was that number in the sense it wasn't higher. I mean, everybody that races or is into racing, you know, it's the same with any sport. Like, I'll turn the TV off if I'm watching football. I'll watch something else for 15 minutes, like a section of Big Bang Theory, and then I'll go into the second half of football. I don't actually watch the middle part. Like, I just want to watch the action. And I think that's probably the same with any sport, including motorsport. And I have to agree with Scott Cole there. I think that more action is better. I mean, if you could take out all the adjudication, you could probably actually put another race into the stream and have a fourth race, or not, or just make it a short stream, like just bang, 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 and you're done. You know, yeah. keep people attentive. I think that's the. I would say that. I will also say on your fact that when you said that the viewers are really important, it is important, but the problem is they're not funding the stream. You know,
yeah.
It's, you know, you do have the race and you have the sponsors, you have the people that are investing money and time into this, and you know they got to get. They need stuff out of it, you know. So you've got to kind of like complement everybody. I know that the viewers are important, but you know you've got to get your adverts out there. You've got, otherwise it wouldn't run. It wouldn't work. And I think that's a really important part of the stream.
And as far as drivers go, I don't know. I'd kind of feel cheated if I knew that I could gain that spot because he got a penalty, but then he ends up winning that race and therefore getting more points for that race, even though he wasn't penalized for the previous race. Like, as a driver, I'd be kind of miffed.
Yeah, I think that's a mindset as well, because like I mean, right now it's if you get a penalty, then it's going to affect where you start in the next race. If you were to establish in the rules that wasn't the case, like you add that penalty onto their overall time, and then they accumulate, and then when the final results go up, if they've got like a higher overall time or a bigger overall time than you, then you bump that spot. Then you could work the post-race adjudication. But currently right now, it's during the race. It's grid positions.
Yeah. One thing that I saw as well was Mitch actually responded to Scott Cole's, like, you know, his poll. I'll read what he said. He said, "Here's my issue with scrapping the live adjudication. I start P4 for a race 1. I managed to unfairly gain a position to P3 by crashing into the guy in front. Here he's now at the back, and I finished P3. Now I start P3 for race 2 because I wasn't penalized for the incident." I think that's an interesting point, at least from a driver's perspective, because you can unfairly gain that advantage and then not be penalized for it, get the benefit in the second race, and then only reap the problem of the first race after. So, it's quite
And if there's no penalty,
dodgy.
There's no reason not to do it. So you're going to see more aggressive racing and more stuff like that happen because they're not scared about losing positions.
Yeah, but then I think that calls for harsher marshalling. So, you know, where we see 5-10 second penalties quite frequent, we've seen more of them in Series 2. Like, you might see the possibility of DNFs if that's the case. If you are actually going out there knowing intentionally that you could run a dirty race and just reap the you know, the forfeits afterwards, and actually, no, if you're just doing to play that game, you can just get DNF'd and get no points. You know, you've got there's racing respect. You've got to keep cleanliness, and I think most of the drivers do that. We've seen some drivers, like a few drivers, actually clean up their act. Obviously, the stats provide that. Stats never lie, and we keep the stats, and we think, you know, this guy's improved. The thing with adjudication is, like, yeah, the drivers go, if I had to start in 9th instead of 10th, maybe I gained, you gain an extra point. It's not really going to make that much of a difference. If that's your pace, then, yeah, you could have that argument, but it's a weak argument. It's not like, yeah, I could have started 9th and finished 1st. That's not the way it's finished. It's like, yeah, I could have started 9th and finished 9th. It's a weak argument.
Yeah. You know, I was gonna say, you know, how do we go about, you know, making everybody happy then? One of the things that Commando said.
Well, yeah, that's never a thing.
No,
never a thing.
No, I mean, okay, hold on. Okay, so finding a happy medium is what I should have said. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's the aim, but like, you can't. It's either one way or the other here, and you kind of have to hit the drivers on the immediate, or give the fans what they want and give them races.
Now here's an interesting take on it though. This is what Commando said. He said just keep the qualifying spots from the ghost races to the Sunday heats and Wednesday showdowns. Nowhere like not have anything to do with the finishing position. So instead of having like race 1 and then race like getting wherever you finish in race 1, that's where you start for race 2. Instead of where you start for race 1 is where you start for race 2.
I think we did that in season 3. I think we did that last season for Le Mans, where if you started, you would qualify, you would get your position, and you would start 4th, and then regardless of where you finish, you would always start 4th. I think they did that in Le Mans. Yeah, I think they did that at Le Mans. I'm pretty sure they did it. I'm probably wrong, but I think they did do that. The problem is though, like, what do you gain as a driver if you've started 10th and you've made 6 positions? You've got to start 10th again. Like, you've got to do all that struggle again.
Yeah, and then plus, like, the viewership, like, goes down because you're not seeing these faster drivers near the back sometimes. Like, it was great to see Lightning passing people. It's great to see Lage passing people, and it's a good test of actual skill if you're starting on pole and you finish on pole every time.
That's what the reverse grids are for.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
it puts a lot more emphasis off the qualification and not on the racecraft. If Lage starts first, has a crash and goes to last, then he should be forfeited and start last. He shouldn't start first again, even though he's made a mistake.
His own fault. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah. I just thought it was interesting. Because it's very difficult to appeal to all the masses, and it's
that happy medium, right?
Exactly.
You're never going to please everybody. For every plus is a minus, and people will seek it out. And there are people in the community that will never ever be happy, and you just got to ignore them.
If they do this though, my only thing is like, okay, well, drivers being more aggressive. Now we might be seeing more penalties, maybe at least post race, anyways. One thing I thought was interesting was in race 2, I think it was on Hockenheim this week. I don't know if you guys saw it for the North American Wednesday Showdown. Force 1 was behind Lightning going into the hairpin turn at Hockenheim. He gave him a little bump and run, okay, and which by American standards, okay, we do bump and run like that. That's technically clean, but in other motorsports it's considered dirty and it's a penalty. But he did not get a penalty for it, so I thought that was curious. And
I'm not going to question the marshalling. Like, they do a great job. Like, it's very tough and like. It's controversial whichever way it goes. Like, you're never going to appeal to everybody, but I'm not going to question the marshal. All I can say is because of my work, I was there for the Sunday races, and I watched the Saturday races as well. I hosted Saturday races, and Hockenheim hairpin was a hot topic, to say the least, especially for NA. I mean, like, there was a lot of, I think in the Sunday, there was a lot of where they would dive bomb each other because the braking was so inconsistent in the car. A lot of people that didn't compete didn't know this. The braking was very inconsistent, especially when the draft took into effect. And, like, so you couldn't really judge it right. And I think that's what Raceboy and the marshals took into account. And they were doing it to each other. Fair's fair, they were all going at it.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't just be Lightning dive bombing everybody. It would be Lightning Vanquish, Force 1. It's tit for tat. And they're all as bad as each other in that respect. Like, it's just...
Or they're all as good as each other, because no one really died too hard.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah.
Like, like, when, they say, like, elbows out racing, and, like, when it gets that heated as well, and you got messy braking points that keep changing, there's not much you can do. So pretty much every incident that you come across in that situation is chalked up to a racing incident, which we love saying, but that's just how it is.
I mean, if you take a lot of people, if you take Hockenheim into consideration, like, because they're doing track limits, and not even before then, Hockenheim, even though it's got loads of runoff space, it's quite a narrow track. So when you take into consideration and you're overtaking possibilities, the hairpin is probably number 1. Like,
exactly, yeah.
I mean, there's no one else where you're gonna kind of get that opportunity to put it down the inside. And even in EMEA, they were doing it. I saw Box doing it, Force Racers doing it. They were all doing it, and it was just like. But everyone loved that racing. Like, the viewership on the stream was great. The retro JDM cars, fantastic. We didn't see the get to the Ep7, but the Skyline was enough. The Skyline.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I mean, being an American, like, I'm okay with seeing a bump and run. Like, you know, that's fine with me. I like Rubbin's racing over here, so I mean, I don't think that those should be penalties. You know, what Force One did, I thought that like, dude, if they you can just move them up a little bit, just move them up a lane, make a lane for yourself. Like, hey, whatever, man.
I think the
a little bit of a
style.
shove.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah. Yeah, no. I was just gonna say a little bit. Oh, fuck it.
We just meant to speak together, dude. This is destiny. Like, you go ahead, and I'll wait till you finish. Go on.
Okay. A little bit of a shoving and stuff like that, it can upset people though, and like you never want to do that when you, like the crossing of the thing. So as long as the rules are outlaid beforehand about what sort of contact is acceptable, I don't know. It's pretty 50-50 in my opinion. I don't like to give anybody a shove. It seems rude.
Yeah, when you're going for a win on the last lap, man. I mean, you're gonna move them out of the way.
I mean, there's two things that really affect the drivers in the FRC right now. Obviously, there's money on the line, and when anything's money based or money incentive, it brings out the best and the worst in the drivers. Now, I mean, the drivers obviously know the rule book, and they know that back to front, so they know when they make a move that it's going to be questionable. They don't know whether they're going to get a penalty, but they know they could. Now, there was an incident where Harmonic in the Sunday races bumped, I think it was Lightning out of the way. Like, he missed his break and he bumped him out of the way. And he messaged his race boy afterwards saying, am I going to get a 5 or 10-second penalty? He knew in the first lap that he was going to get a penalty. He just didn't know how much. Like, though, you know, and he knew that. And, like, the drivers to some degree know whether what they're doing is questionable. And some of them go, it doesn't really matter, does it? And they don't go for it. I mean, but some of them are squeaky clean, but what has squeaky clean ever got anybody? Sometimes you just got to like get your sleeves rolled up and dig.
Just like dig. Lick the stamp and send it, man. That's you know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's competition as well. Like when you're competing and everyone's, you know, they say race on the edge. That's racing on the edge. Like you can't push the limit more than that.
Yeah.
So another thing that came to light this week was the Le Mans eSport thingy is what I'm going to call it, because I think that's the best word I can use to describe it, as a thingy. So, because I know I am not the only one in the community that has no idea what the hell is going on with this competition. So I think Mellish has an interpretation of what they mean, so I think he's probably going to do the best he can to explain it for you guys that don't know.
So, I mean, it is a wild interpretation. It's kind of based on other people's interpretation, and the fact that what we've all agreed is the fact that whoever wrote the rules in English just used the Google Translate for French, right? Yeah. They just Google Translate it, because it doesn't make any. It's like the sentences are backwards. You're like, like if you're dyslexic, you might make it out, but if you're not, it's just screwed. Right? You know what I mean? And it's, but from what I can make of it is, so it's just like the starting blocks for it. It is a money-based tournament again, and obviously it's leading up towards 2019 Le Mans. So where we had the FRC season 3, I think that's where they want to. It's not the FRC, but it's like a tournament adjacent to that, leading to that point. And I think it's a way for actual motorsport drivers and motorsport teams to get involved in virtual motorsports by bringing them to the track. And it's not the FRC; it's being run by a friend. I don't know who the French company is, but there's a lot of like social media with like Fernando Alonso being there and other WEC drivers. So it's kind of being hyped that way instead. It's like gaining a lot of traction. In terms of rules and how it starts, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Okay, so from what I can make out is how you start is you've obviously got to sign up to the website. It's very easy to do. Make sure you don't get any of your details wrong, because if they can't find your gamer tag, then you get automatically disqualified. The French are very, very clear on that. If you can't spell your own gamer tag, you're out. So, and then that's the starting block for it. And then you've got 5 cars to choose from, and they're all in the homologated bracket. One of the cars was the Peugeot 905, which we saw this Wednesday showdown. It's based around Silverstone, because that's currently where the WEC is. So it's a Silverstone, and what you have to do to one of the ways of qualifying, and I don't know any of the others, so don't ask me that, but one of the ways of qualifying is you have to set up a private lobby with one other person that's also competing, and then you put laps around, and then basically you take a screenshot of your fastest lap and you submit it. That's it. But the weirdest, not the weirdest thing, but it's the strangest thing, because in the FRC, we see like the assists removed, you know, no traction seen as assist, no racing line, no tunings, all stock. So it's a level playing ground. That's what the FRC brings. It's really good. This, on the other hand, is you are allowed tunes. You're allowed any assists. It is crazy in that fact. I mean, like, most drivers won't use them, but they're available. And I think that like kind of helps the fact that a lot more people want to get involved. I think some people in the community were upset with the fact that the FRC just caters for the top 50, but it doesn't. It doesn't, like, because, you know, even Saturday it qualifies 120 people in EMEA and then 120 people for NA alone. Like, it's a lot more than people make it out, you know. But this caters for everybody. Anybody has a chance to qualify, and I don't know the other ways of qualifying, but it ends up with, what you'll end up with is, if you do qualify and you make it to the final, then you will have, people will be put into teams of 3, and there'll be 12 teams, so there'll be 36 drivers going to France, and they'll be in teams of 3. Now, I don't know how you can put a team together, or you get put with a team. I don't know how that works. I'm literally thinking they pull like a number out the bottom, like a number out the hat. Well, you're with them, you know what I mean? You could get.
Is it required that the teams all use the same car?
I would assume so. I mean, you've got to, right? I mean, in Le Mans, you don't see like one pull into the garage and another one pull out. It's a different car. Like, oh, hey, it doesn't work like that.
Hey man, I'm just asking.
I don't think it's going to be that. I think it would be right if you use the same car. But one thing is established. You could use one thing that's really important is, I think you can definitely use a controller. You can use by whatever means. There's no crossplay block. So it could be PC, it could be controller, it could be Xbox, it could be wheel. But when it comes to the final, it's definitely wheels. So, I mean, that's going to be a big advantage to some over others, because there are a lot, you know, the biggest thing in the FRC is, oh, these guys using Xbox controllers, or they're using wheels. Well, no, they're using controllers because it's a game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like,
yeah. And this time they're going to wheels. Like, eventually, everyone will have to use the wheel. So if you're not familiar with the wheel, I would advise you may, if you've got one available, or you could get one and you want to compete, then the wheel's the way to go with this.
Yeah,
sure.
Because I think that the people who are on controller are going to be at disadvantage. Like, yeah, I'm really fast on a controller. Then they get to the event and it's like, oh, I'm 3 seconds off pace.
It's so different to run on a wheel than it is on controller.
I mean, there's different settings, right? I mean, if you don't know the degrees of rotation, if you don't even know what that is, then you're already at the back somewhere. I don't know.
Like, people complain about like wheel being not like plug and play, and like they have to play with the settings so much and stuff like that. I'm like, well, yeah, because each car's so very different. How do you expect one wheel to just do it all? It's very difficult for it to happen. I don't know why they think that that's just going to be a thing.
Well, I'm just leveling out how difficult I think it would be to kind of transition. I would love to transition, but my experience is people that play on wheel that want to do the FRC that have to come back to controller. Some of them find it very difficult. They're not used to tap steering. You know, it's different configuration, different method. But they're all about smooth steering. You know, nice and they struggle. But I think as racing esports progresses, I think it will definitely all go to wheels, and I think that the Le Mans esports is the start of that.
And that's a good thing, honestly. The more sim-like it is, the more I can appreciate it. The more probably a lot of motorsport can appreciate it, and it will probably weed out a lot of the guys that are just on there to wreck people and stuff like that anyway, because it's just like, I mean, just normal hoppers and stuff like that. It'll probably become more of a sim and just sort of lead the game and the online presence more in the direction of proper motorsport and racing.
Yeah. The only thing with that, though, is like Forza's big thing, their unique thing, is that it caters to everybody because they can just pick up a controller and play it. Yeah, but Horizon's on a motorsport game. I mean, they have some, you know, sports cars, hypercars, stuff like that, but they don't. It's not like a racing game on racing circuits like Project Cars and stuff like that. And that's what Forza caters to, is the be able to race competitively with the controller, and that's what's so great about it.
I think skill level should not be compared to sim. I think that sim is its own different skill set. Sim racing is its different skill set to Xbox racing. You can make it as hardcore as you want, but with any game, the skill set is how well you can do in that game. Like, iRacing probably feels very different, and that's very, very sim. And there'll be a lot of people with that skills to play that, but if they try and come over to Forza, they're not going to play it because it's a different skill set. It's a different driving dynamic completely. And there are going to be people on Forza that do really well that can't do well on that. So I think each game and each category should have its has its own skill set and should be recognised. But I don't think it should be crossed over in the fact that, oh, it's not sim, so it can't be that high. It's got to be easy because it's not sim. Well, no, it's not. It's not easy. It really isn't. Like,
no, it's really not.
You use a handbrake to turn the car, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. With a handbrake.
Yeah, don't even get us started. Don't even get us started on that. We had a whole thing on that last couple weeks ago.
It's fine, but what I'm trying to say is that I think the skills should be recognised for that game. I mean, yeah, they're using controllers, but there are top 36 people in the world, and I guarantee you that there's not many other people in the racing game that could do what they do. I mean, it's close, and you hope that there are, and you hope that there's new people come through, and there are from time to time, but they are regulars. They're at the top of their game. But I guarantee if you think they're top of their game and they put them into iRacing, they won't be at the top of the game, and rightly so, because they don't practice on it, they don't know how it works. It's just the way it is.
But I'm sure if you gave them a few weeks, they'd figure it out quicker than some others.
Yeah,
I
think there's a natural knack. There's a natural knack. There is a natural to it. I love racing games. I came from COD. I came from competitive COD. I played Forza 4s, my first Forza. I was just as bad as the rest of those guys you see on the leaderboard with full assists, dude. I sucked hard, and it's just like you just got to practice. You have just got to put the time in if you have the time available.
Yeah,
that's right.
Do you want to get into maybe how you got started into Forza and how you got started into YMTV and stuff like that? I mean, because we ask
the Mellish origin story.
Week. Yeah, we want to know.
There was a wizard and some wishes involved.
Yeah.
You said you rubbed the genie involved. I was gonna say you said you rubbed the lamp.
I just stroke a cat. And it's like, please make me good at Forza. I think I started at Forza I remember was it Sunset Raceway on Forza 4? It's a Sunset Raceway.
Oh, Sunset Raceway! I do remember that. Oh my goodness!
It was like
nostalgia.
Oval, and then under the tunnel, and then out around a track, and then back in or something.
That was great. Like that. I like that one.
And it was the A4 touring. That was when we had like R1, R2, R3, and I was like Opel Astra A4 touring. That was me all the time, and I actually met. I met Roadrunner, who was GSR at the time, GSR Roadrunner. He was still a squeak box right then, because he hadn't hit puberty. He was that long ago. And he was just like, he gave me tips and tricks, like just go for manual. Manual's faster, like get off automatic and then manual with clutch, and you learn it. And I think I was no good on Forza 4. I didn't hit leaderboards. I was one of those guys going, hey, I got in the top 2,000, way! Like, that was me. And it was kind of like, now, it's like, if I'm not top 100 or top 70, I'm like, this is shit. Like, I just don't want to do this. I just don't want to do this. And that's the case.
We're all there. We're all there.
Yeah.
And then Forza 5, it was a lot of R-Class. So Corvette, the BMW M3, the Aston Martin, the OP Aston Martin. And then Forza 6 was when I put a lot of time in. So I think I got the day release. So if you got the day release for Forza 6, you got it 4 days early, and there was that massive like Australian. I think you might know of it. The Australian. It was a V8 at Bathurst.
Yeah, I do remember it, but I didn't get it. I got Forza 6 well too late into its release.
But it was cool, but the thing was, it was randomly picked. So you had someone called Squishy Oyster, that got the. Who put in like a 2-minute 30, and there were people putting like 2-minute 5s and 2-minute 6s in. You're like, you should have picked the top 4 really, or like some of the top 20, but
that didn't make sense to me either. But
it was a Ford Falcon. I spent 16 hours on Bathurst, and that's why it became my favorite track.
Jeez, dude, if I had to race 16 hours on Bathurst, oh my god,
my butt was numb. I was on the verge of thrombosis. Like it was hurting. So that's where I started, and then I qualified for the RC. I think a lot of people helped me along the way. Like I was in Epic. I got helped by Hammy. I got helped by Roadrunner Bullet, who no longer plays Forza, but some real fast people of the old age. And I just don't. The funny thing is, like when you work in Forza, when you kind of work in an industry where you're around Forza, you don't get to play it that much. Like, or you don't want to play it because you've been on it so long doing other things. You're like, oh, I just feel like playing some Battlefield. Like, don't want to play.
I need a break from that. That visual's too much now.
Exactly. And that's just the way it is.
I think we're getting a bit like that, huh, Kiko?
Yeah.
I haven't been on as much as I used to be.
A little bit, yeah.
And that brings up other people though. So people that were in our position where we were hungry for it, are now coming up, and we're seeing like new people, and I think it's kind of cool though. that works out like that.
Not that we were ever at the top or anything.
But it's funny, isn't it? For me, if you get a lot of people on the game and they're like, oh, I'm in the top 1,000 people, like top drivers in the leaderboard, and people are happy with that. The faster you get, the more unhappy you become. You're like, like, I'm 17th in the world, but I know I can get a top 10 time. I just can't put it down. I can't stitch the lap together. And your enjoyment comes from winning and being the best you can be. And if someone's beating you, then you're like, oh, I just don't want to do this. But you do want to do it. You're irritated by it. So every time you come on Forza, there's always like a negative atmosphere. Yeah. It's like, oh my god, like, I just want to put it in.
Dude, all
it's like self-punishment. Like, all you gotta do is like one of those monks just whipping themselves. Get faster! Get faster!
Dude, exactly. Like, your controller's dying because you're crushing. Like, it is a form of torture. Forza is a form of torture, but only to the most competitive.
My B button stuffed.
Jason, tell him, like, all you gotta do is be in a party with me when I'm hot lapping, and you will know that I am suffering. Like,
yeah, and the people that I know that you know, and they're just like, the amount of times I've muted Kicker.
No,
yeah, but he understands that, right? He understands that, and he's kind of like, yeah, they muted me because I'm just impossible to work with in a party because I'm doing lap times.
He's not even in the conversation. You'd be talking about, like, you know, what TV show you want. Fuck, shit, I can't believe that's dirty, ridiculous. You're just like, please, mate, we're having a conversation here.
Yeah,
that's the way it goes, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that the more I do, the more frustrated I get. Like, it's like, because I'm like not hitting the times that I want to hit. And then I look at the leaderboard, and I look at the top times, and I get really depressed. And I'm like, God, I'm shit at this game. You know? It's like, oh, there you go.
Yeah, but when you come out of yourself, when you actually look at the leaderboard and go, I'm 36th in the world. Could be worse. You know what I mean? Like, you're not happy with it. You're like, who wants to be 36th? Like,
there's no satisfaction coming 50th. There's none.
Yeah.
Like, there's that brief satisfaction of like, oh, I got there. Shit. First is still 3 seconds away.
Listen, that's how I feel every time I get into a party with Billy Sue. It's like, yes, I put down a good lap. And he's like, I just ran a second faster than you, and I have splits for 1.5. And I'm just like, dude, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. Aliens.
You're just alien.
Yeah.
And I talk to Billy Sue like every day, and it's just like a constant reminder of how slow I am.
If there's a guaranteed way to get depression, and it's go put on Leisure's Ghost in any single leaderboard and try and run it.
Yeah.
You'll be in the corner later. You'll be coming out of the corner first, and you'll still get a run on you and beat you, and you're like, great. Why do I even play this game?
Well, there's a thing to it though. Like, I appreciate that, and it is completely demoralising. Like, there's no way about it. But in the same respect, you got to know that he put 9 hours into that Persia.
Oh
yeah.
Like 9 hours straight around Suzuka. Now, even if I wanted to, even if I could do that, I wouldn't want to. Like, I couldn't physically see myself getting any faster after the first 45 minutes.
Right.
So I'm not going to do 9 hours. But that's the mentality. You know, he's got the time to do that. He's got the availability. I think this is also a really good point you actually bring me to as well, is the fact that people should be credited, and they don't get credited, for the fact that commitments. So you might have Lage who has 24 hours in a day to put as many of the hours as he wants into Forza, and that's fine. You can't discredit someone for putting the amount of practice they put in and still winning, because that's what it takes. But I think what should also be recognised is the fact that Davy Skills and Commando have got 2 or 3 children, they've got a house, they've got a wife, they've got a job, and they managed to put 2 hours in or an hour. You put an hour in and they're out. They got time to practice, and they still in the top 12 of the world, and you're like, okay. And then when Davy Skills gets like a day where he can practice, he starts third, he's challenging Mitch, and he just not in the reverse grid that screwed him, but he could have finished third. Like, third in the EMEA, and you got a day to practice. I mean, like, what? I don't get it.
Yeah. That's like seat time, though. Davy Skills has been around for forever. Yeah. And there's that dedication to mastery that no one seems to want to do anymore, where they don't realize, oh, you can't just pick up the game. Like, Leige didn't just start and be like, oh, yep, this is Forza, is it? #1 time. It didn't happen. You know, like he built himself up there.
Exactly. It's not like he picked up the controller jumped into his hands. Like,
oh yeah,
it's just
his hands are the controller.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's invisible, and I understand that it feels like a lot of way for that people. It feels that way for a lot of people. But it's actually just practice. It is literally 100%. Just practice. And people that say it isn't, I mean, it's because they can't see it. But you've got to rationalize it.
It's the same with every video game, any esport video game, any real championship team. Like, you think those people just walk onto the soccer field and win the World Cup? They don't. They definitely practice their whole damn lives to do it.
Right. Yeah. That's why those guys are at the top, because they practice a lot, and they're able to do it. Because even at the top, the difference is they're putting in 9 hours to improve by like a tenth and a half, and that's what it takes to go from like 7th to 1st on the leaderboard. But like Jason, like you and I, we practiced 9 hours to try to make up a 2nd, and it's like not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've definitely sweat a lot.
I think a lot of things. I mean, like you mentioned about being in a party. I don't know if you're both in a party with Billy Sue, but being with top drivers definitely helps.
Yeah.
Definitely helps. Because, and what they will tell you is things that you find unnatural. If you feel like you've taken a curve really nice and steady, like Suzuka in the Peugeot, you're like, well, this feels great. But you're like, shit, I'm 1.5 seconds off. It's because you're not engine braking. You're not going from 5th to 1st in like under a second.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. Like,
they're not grabbing the handbrake, and that's
you're not grabbing the handbrake. You know, and it's kind of like if simulation damage was a thing in the rivals, you would see yourself a lot further up. But because there are exploitations in the game, then I mean, they're going to use them, and they have an override to it. If there's something in the rules that's not stipulated that you can't do in the rules, it means you can do it. Like, if they could use the handbrake, they can engine brake to God's end. Like, they can do that. But it does save so much time. It's funny how you say though, like they're battling for car lengths. I was with Roadrunner when she was trying to beat his time for Suzuka. And what he was saying was that he kept saying, "Oh, I'm a bonnet length in front of my own ghost." A bonnet length. I'm like 10 car lengths behind you, dude. Like, give me a break. Don't talk to you about bonnets. Like, you know what? But you get faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that you bring up a good point though. Like, do you think that RC should then introduce simulation damage to the hot laps?
This is just my own. I'm not voicing anybody else's opinion. Just my own opinion.
Right.
I think it would be a lot better if they did put simulation in the rivals. So you've got that tyre wear, you've got that fuel consumption. You can't engine brake, and I think those are the 3 biggest things really. Tyre wear can affect a car for worse or for good. Like, it doesn't really. It has different effects.
The fuel.
I think the engine brake is a big thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say the fuel is huge because the less fuel you have, the faster you're gonna go because you don't have as much weight in the car.
Well, not in Forza, but in other racing games and real life, yes.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with that. I think that fuel consumption and the car being lighter should be something like hitting that sweet spot in the car. Like you work yourself up with a full tank to nail it, and then with half a tank, and your tires are 30% wear, you go for it.
Yeah. And I don't know if you watch. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, you go. Man.
I don't know if you've seen the recent Super GT video where he does a really cool qualifying lap, because in Gran Turismo Sport they're allowed to do qualifying, and the fuel weight is actually a thing in there, and so he just pits every lap and then waits for his final lap to set his qualifying time, and he goes pole. That was really cool.
because that puts into the game like it puts in more than just racing. It puts like extra dynamics. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Me, for you.
You go.
Me, like, I did Project Cars once. I've never played it again because it was horrible on the controller and it was so laggy. I was like, there you go.
I did that the other day. I did that exactly the other day. Wow.
Yeah. But the interesting thing was that when you pitted, you could choose how much fuel you wanted. So, like, you know, if you went in there with damage, you were leading the race, but you sustained damage, something you could choose, like, I just want the front suspension and the front brakes to work, and I want a quarter tank of fuel, and off you go, and that equates to how long you spend in the pits. With Forza, it's just a universal time, staying there. And the worst thing about the Forza, not complaining about the game, but the worst thing about the Forza pits is you could be in the pits 200 feet in front of someone, and when you come out the pits, you're 200 feet behind them. You're like, what?
Yeah,
yeah, that makes no sense to me.
I don't think fueling time's a thing in the game either. Like, I don't think fuel saving would cost you less time in the pits. I've seen it happen heaps of times, and I'm just like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
And other times, I don't know if you used to go on Brands Hatch, but like the pits there, when leaving the pits, like it's like your AI driver just forgot how to drive, and he's left, right, left, right, left, right. Like,
Well,
you just end up grinding the wall as you come out of the pits. Like, that's what I wanted.
Well, I mean, like the AI don't really, you know, there's not really much credit for the AI drivers. I understood what they were trying to do, but like coming out of Laguna Seca, you're meant to speed up out the pits, and what the car does is it speeds up and then
speeds down.
You're like, and if you're GT and you're in that Nismo, the GTR with a huge turbo, like you're like literally shut up. Come on! Like, there's people coming over there, like,
just trying to Flintstone it, just like.
It's got to be faster, right? I mean, and I guess there's little. I think that's quirks. Like, you got to know that. I mean, if you didn't know that was going to happen and you feel like you've been robbed in a race, then you haven't played the game enough. Not to use a Nismo and have a pit.
Yeah.
I guess that's for the fun of Forza, right? And there's loads of quirks. I guess there's a lot of complaints we made. The best thing about Forza 7 for me was, yes, I never thought I'd be reinstalling Forza 6 when Forza 7 came out because of how incomplete it was. But I have to say, even though Forza Horizon 4 is nearly developed and it will be coming out soon, they're still working. They not turn a blind eye to Forza, and you know they're still working on it, and they realise. I mean, people always go, well, what about this? Well, what about every time an update comes out? It's like, you know, we haven't included this. Yeah, but that could come. You know what I mean? Like, there's only so much they can do. It's a development studio. They've got to give them time. And I know that.
Yeah.
I know that people will disagree. Like, they should have come out like this. Yes, it should have come out like this, but it hasn't. So get over it and just wait patiently for the updates. You know what I mean? Like, the whole drifting thing is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
And honestly, the improvements they have made are sensational. Like, the game's hundreds of times better than first release, and you can't fault them for that. Like, they have done a good job fixing the game.
Yes, and good God, people, stop complaining about the track limits. That's all I gotta say. Stop complaining about it. Get over it. It is. They are fantastic.
About the track limits. The thing about the track limits is there was a lot of people that are maybe, I don't know, outside the top 200 that will look at the top people and go, well, it's because they're cutting the track. They're using grass. This is how they're getting that extra 3 seconds on me. And it's kind of like, when the track limits come in, the people that are complaining are the ones that couldn't get the times in the first place. The people that are actually at the top of the game, they're like, oh, this is cool. Now I know what the boundaries are. They're clearly defined. I know where I can cut. I know where I can't cut. And there's actually there's anywhere you can cut. There, you know, you can get 2 cars on the curve.
Yeah, you can. But, and like, the other thing is, prior to these new track limits, the track limits were just as strict. If you went over whatever the track limit was, you were still dirty. Yeah. So if you just couldn't find that limit, that's on you. Like,
yeah, really. Just watch a replay. Just watch a replay.
So I mean,
and I think that's cool. I think the fact that, you know, the top drivers are like, actually, this is really good. This is great, because now it takes it out of the hands of adjudication. Like, so when it comes to the marshalling for like the playoffs and stuff, they go, well, he was definitely cutting maggots and back kicks, which has always been a hot topic in any kind of competition. Because the way that you could take it was 2 tires on the grass. 2 tires on the green and 2 tires on the curb, but now it's just 2 tires on the curb, you know, and it slows you down so much, because in effect you can't straight line that chicane anymore. Like, the driver's like, this is great, but now the guy's like, well, I can't catch up the fast drivers now. Oh, yeah, but they were the same this level playing field. There's no fight anymore. You can never please some people.
Yeah.
No, really not. You could give them the braking line in the Forza RC and they would still not be happy.
Why was it a manual clutch? Why don't we make this all automatic?
Yeah, yeah. Level playing field, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't attend that week. Can you make my driver tile race? My driver tile will do all right. You know what I mean?
While it breaks 6 meters too early.
Yeah, really. Good stuff, Joe.
The nightmares.
So we got G2 Omega Hot Lap Challenge coming up in just a second. Mo's is going to hit the track. But first, you got to tell us, how did you come up with YMTV? How did that whole thing start? You got to tell us.
Yeah, go on.
It's a funny story. It's not really a funny story. It's a weird story. I was literally, I had a skin condition. I was signed up work for 3 weeks, and it was during Christmas time. And I was like, what am I going to do myself for 3 weeks? So I just started streaming on Twitch, on Forza, and just public lobbies, community racing. It was nothing special. The graphics were like potato. My processing was horrendous. And Ali came up to me and was like, hey, do you want to do some commentating on a race together? And I was like, yeah, well, why not? And we fell in. We fell in love. That literally was it. We fell in. It was a romance on Forza, and we just like, we finished each other's sentences without interrupting each other. It was just amazing. And what really made me feel that I was good at it, and I'm not really good at very many things. I don't have any qualifications in it. I just love the competitive edge. I love the spirit. I love the fact that I can sit in my seat and I can still feel like I've done a better workout than I can an hour in the gym. My heart's racing, my adrenaline's pumping. I'm like, shit, it's just a game.
You're sweating.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not even racing. Like if there was a desk, I'd be banging on it, and it's just kind of like
real edge of your seat stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
it can't be like that. 100%.
Exactly, and I think that no matter what qualifications you have or what experience you have, like you've got to feel it, and even now, it never changes. It's never changed from a year and a half ago now, or just over a year and a half ago now. It never changed. It's like, when I go on with flip mode, like you mentioned earlier, flip mode with the British GT, get the opportunity. I'm really busy, so like I see kind of like stagnate a little bit because we're committed to the Forza RC, which is really a great opportunity. We can't. It's very difficult to do both, but we are aiming to come back. I should say that, but like, it's just having chemistry. It's chemistry, love, and you could say your vocabulary does not have to be the English Oxford dictionary. It doesn't have. You don't have to know like 10-syllable words. It's just like you could shout and grunt and make noises and
we do.
You want to get that out. It's there, and it's just like when we started with the ORL TCC. I think it was season 3, and just watching the top drivers nail each other, just round Brands Hatch, and it was just in a really positive way.
I watched that stream. That was really cool, actually.
I think we started off with 70 people viewing, and then Twitch just exploded from 1,000 to 3,000. Our YouTube wasn't so great, but it didn't really matter because it was really all about the live for us. It was just a way to record and archive if people wanted to go back and watch that.
It's just like an extension of your hobby kind of thing, and you just sort of
it was a second-time job though. It was a second job for me because my missus had to endure me shouting in the same room as her. She was trying to get her sleep, and I'm working Monday to Friday, and then it would be like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday would be the streaming days as well, and then we'd have to create the streams and create the content for the streams on the Monday and the Tuesday, and we'd always have meetings every weekend and what we wanted to do, and then we started making community streams like Forza Karts, which kind of was like exploded, and we really want to bring that back. And,
right.
And we don't get the same coverage as what Super GT does. He's been around ages. It's kind of like he's really earned his following, and we didn't have that. Absolutely. But it didn't really matter. It didn't matter. We were happy when 100 people tuned in, and we didn't care that.
We're happy when 5 people tuned in. It's great.
Yeah,
really.
It didn't matter how many people tuned in because like I was making myself excited. I feel like I use the analogy a lot. I feel like I'm a dog chasing my own tail when I'm commentating because I will never catch it, but I will always try to catch it. I'm just mindless. I don't think about what I'm saying. I see what I'm saying what I see on the stream. I love it.
That's awesome.
I love it. So pieces.
That's great, man.
Simple.
Sweet. All right. So, I mean, we've got
Oh,
one more thing to do. Were you going to say something, Jason?
I was just going to say, like, look at Super GT, and he plays a drinking game. And sorry, about your vocabulary was what I was going to start with. Is when, if you watch a Super GT video, he'll bring up the drinking game where he repeats himself. And if he repeats himself on certain words, you have to drink. And, like, so that's what you mean. You don't have to have a great vocabulary. You really don't.
It's just passion. I've never seen this drinking game. I'll have to check it out.
yeah. Like, he says chicane and, like, obvious stuff, but, like, Spaniard and whatnot. But I've been drunk before.
It's a great reason to get drunk. Like, I was getting drunk watching a YouTube stream, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was watching Super GT and I got hammered. Like...
Alright, guys. Well, we've got one more thing to take care of today, and that is the GT Omega Hot Lap Challenge. Mellish is going to hit the track. We're going to show the leaderboard here.
And the wall. And the tire wall.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, this isn't working again. It's always fun. It's always fun when this doesn't work. I'm
checking out the leaderboard, so please excuse the glare.
Yes. So leaderboard is up right now. So, guys, Billy, so you're still leading right now, just over THR Skyline. Alan Walsh put in a time of 1:11 last week. So as soon as I get this stream up, we will get going.
Oh, it's not bad. Well, so I'm looking for threes for the top drivers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Threes for the
looking
top
for threes. I expect at least 2 out of you, Mellish.
It's just silly. Expectations are just silly.
I have no expectations. No expectations in reality. I've driven the car here, and I made this tune. So I know what it's like.
I have no idea what it's like. So I've got 3 sign laps and 3 hot laps. I've got it.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah.
Alright, so all we need to do is ready up. This thing is not working, of course. Again, I don't understand why Xbox is...
Are you getting video? If you're getting video, we'll just run it.
Yeah, I'm not getting video at all, which is super annoying. I don't understand. I don't get it. It worked for the first 5 episodes, and then all of a sudden it just stops working, and it makes me very annoyed. But
yeah.
All right, well, here we go.
We're very sorry, streamers. Very sorry.
Goodness gracious. So, anyways,
and if you want to leave angry comments, Kicker's got a Twitch or Twitter at GTR Kicker _.
Go ahead and yell at me.
Go leave them there.
Mirror. Am I gonna go back first? Am I gonna go back? Or am I just doing sign lap?
Just go your starting lap first, yep.
Yeah, you go. Number 1 lap is siding. So we'll do our best effort to give you what's going on. But
what the hell? You set this up a drift or something? What is that with the kids? Oh my god! Crazy,
not enough tire, too much power, not enough weight. All those good things that you want in a car. Just has the potential for really fast laps, but it's just hard to drive. Loving that clockwise formation, so that mirror's right in the way when you take right-hand corners.
I hate that.
You can see behind you too, so it's super distracting when you're trying to look for the apex.
I can see where I've been, not where I'm going.
Yeah. Super helpful in a race car. Super helpful. I think I'd have a word with the designers of this car if I actually owned one. I'd be like, dude, seriously?
Jesus. This is going to be fun, right? So I'm going to line up
Don't
here.
cross the line.
And definitely no arrow. Not enough arrow for that car at all.
So here, this one here.
Yeah, just those arrows. That's pretty much perfect.
Okay.
Oh, I got it.
Somehow
I got it up. All right, hang on. Don't go yet.
Okay.
Don't go yet. Somehow, some way, I have gotten.
Did you talk to your genie friend again, man? Is this that?
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Let me get to the viewing. Here we go. All right. All right, Mellish. When you are ready, man, go ahead. This is Mellish's first lap. He's gonna launch and see what he can do. I'm so happy I got this
ready
up
for tire
somehow.
spin. So much tire spin. I can hear the tire spin already. Oh, look at that. Actually, not too bad.
Oh.
Very narrow into the corner one. Yeah, he's freaking out over the chicane, I can tell.
Oh. Baby, I need it on. Well, that's my final out of Oh well.
So guys, remember, ever since the track limits came out, we are allowing him to run the old limits because everyone else ran the old limits. So his laps will be dirty, obviously, but they will be clean in our heads. So from here on out, they will be judging the old track limits, so you are allowed to cut the chicane. Also remember, he is using no assists. He's also got a mirror in his face, and he's forced cockpit view without a line. So.
And just like the best tune ever. Oh. If you've ever driven this car, you know that it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, tire wall.
Oh, tire wall. Melish's first lap, 103.409.
Oh,
he's in the wall, but he's got a 103.409 on his first flyer. Now he's on a sighting lap.
Good.
Dude, he is 4/10 off.
Jacob Bokert says he's going to hit a 101.
Oh my god, car. Jeez.
Oh.
Got it. Come on. Starting lap 2. Break!
If he beats Billy Sue, guys, Billy Sue ran a 103.016. If he beats that, Mellish will be in the lead for.
I can hear him counter steering.
Dude, he'll be in the lead for a full rig setup by GT Omega if he can take that. So we'll see.
I didn't know this was surprises. Don't do that to me.
So guys, he's getting in position for his next.
By the way. No pressure.
Is that it there? That's it there?
Yes,
yeah,
right
there. Yep.
Yep, that one.
Second arrow. Yep, that's good. Right there. Yep. Oh, I keep forgetting I'm 5 seconds behind watching you replay.
Yeah.
That's frustrating.
He'll be starting his second flying lap here in a second. Go when you're ready, and he's off. That's actually a really good launch. A really good launch.
Yeah, he's got it down. He's got it down.
I think he might have something for Billy Sue, man. He might have something for Billy Sue.
Oh, seems that way.
You can see him wobble on the apex, before the apex, because he's like, where's the apex in the turn? There's a wall there.
You can hear him counter steering in and out of corners. I can hear the controller. Click, 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 click. I thought it was tap steering, mate. It was not. No. Concentration from Mellish right now.
Dude, it is unreal. I don't even want to ask him what he's feeling in the car right now.
Ever since Box, I asked Box to tell us how he was going through the lap, and he didn't do it. It's a good breaking point right there.
Dude, he's got the car very stable.
Dude, he's got it dialed.
He's very. Oh, right when I say that, he slides it out coming on the straightaway. Don't even tell me the time. Don't even say the time. Mellish with a 1:03. I'm assuming. I'm still waiting for this stupid thing to come up. Oh, because it's not cycling. Loop data. No, don't loop the data. 103.110. Wow. He's so close. Goodness gracious. Mellish.
Mellish,
you need literally 95 thousandths of a second to beat Billy Sue. 95 thousandths of a second to beat Billy Sue.
Even though he's a presenter, he's still quick.
And he's got one shot to do it, guys. He's got one shot to do it.
No, we'll do a last lap. Hey!
Nice little drift there.
I just wanted to get that out of my system, and then I can carry on.
Yeah. Guys, you saw it first here in Mellish drifting.
Ah, come on. I'm gonna crumble this last lap, I know it.
Can he do
Right,
it?
we're gonna
The
be
pressure
quiet
is
we're
on.
gonna be quiet.
Alright, fine, we will be quiet. The pressure is on Mellish right now. Right now he's sitting in 3rd place. With a 103.110. Yeah, Skyline put in a 103.050.
Within a 10th, mate. Within a 10th.
You are within a 10th, though. Mellish is sweating. His palms are sweating. He's praying to the Forza gods.
His knees weak. His arms are heavy.
When you're ready, man, we will be quiet. We will be quiet for your final lap.
Oh.
Got my wall a little bit faster. Oh, it's a slide.
It's gonna cost him.
Can he do it? Can he do it?
Oh, he's kept it tidy across the line. It's pretty good.
He's across the line. Mellish with a 103.001! TUS Mellish with a 103.001! Wow!
I told you I expected 2s, and you were so close.
That is
Mellish.
disgusting of the car. It's disgusting. I completely missed the break-in. Oh, we can go over that, but you know, it's really good. What's that mean to me, guys? My second.
You're first! You took the lead!
Yeah,
you took the lead! You were on top! With a 001, yes! 0-0-0-1. You won by 15 thousandths of a second. Guys, Mellish taking the lead of the GT Omega Hot Lap Challenge. In the lead to win a full rig setup by GT Omega. Wow, that was exciting.
So far, he's in the running.
Goodness gracious.
You're in the hot seat, mate. They've got to come for you. When Skyline got close, there was blood in the water for Billy Sue, I think.
Billy Sue was nervous. He messaged me after the stream. He was like, oh my gosh, that made me nervous. Well, now he's going to be really sad.
Yeah. Topher Stouffer says, wow, you called it.
Wow. Goodness gracious. Mellish, well done, man. That is awesome. Awesome freaking lap time right there. 0-0-1. And you beat Vox, by the way, just so you know. You beat Vox.
Yeah, that's a nice one. We'll give you a medal for that. I think we should create one for
I think I should just get a sim rig for that. Like, guys, if you put that on Twitter saying I beat Vox and there's no way he can beat me back, I would love that.
That's accurate.
Well, there might be a way he could beat you back, actually.
Oh, yeah, that is true. That is true.
We promised we're sending an invite to the driver who wins Mexico City. We're going to send them an invite onto the show the following week. Oh. And if it's Box, if he wins Series 2, he will be making another appearance on the show.
Yeah, but they're practice. That's not fair. Get the practice on it.
Well, if you want, you can qualify for Mexico, I think, still, and then you can try and win.
And then come back. Yeah.
I'm going to be in Mexico. I'm already in Mexico, so I think on that alone, I think I should come back.
We'll have to, like... maybe.
Oh, I'd love that.
That's awesome.
I've got loads of stories as well, guys. I could fill an hour with just old children's stories. Like
yeah.
Next time, man. Guys, if you want to go follow Mellish, alright, his Twitter is underneath his name, alright. Also, go ahead and give him a follow. Go ahead and follow YMTV. They're on Twitter as well. They do some great stuff.
YMTV.
Yeah, go follow them.
Great stuff.
Go subscribe to their channel at YMTV Racing. Him and Yachts do a great job with YMTV as well. Catch him on every Wednesday Showdown as well. He does all the commentary stuff for Forza RC for the updates on Sunday races. So definitely check that out. Mellish, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. It's been a pleasure. Super awesome having you
Thanks
on.
very much for having me. It was good fun. I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a blast.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, broke my debut. My what's it? What do you call it? My podcast cherry. That's the one.
There you
go. That's cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, don't forget to smash that like button as well if you liked the video today, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We really appreciate your support and tuning in. Next week, we have a special guest coming on from Legion GTR. Actually, the CEO of Legion Gaming will be coming on the show. L3 Danny, also known as, I think it's Pix Rosa. Yeah. So... Guys, definitely not going to want to miss that. We're going to be talking about where the direction of Forza is heading, and the gaming companies getting involved, and everything like that. You guys are not going to want to miss that episode, so definitely tune in next week, 6 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. BST, excuse me. So, yeah, guys, also follow us at Off the Track. Again, Mellish, thank you so much for coming on, guys. We will see you next week, all right? Thank you guys so much.